So here's something old. And if you can read the instructions, it says, completely factor this thing by graphing the function to find two real zeros, synthetically dividing them out to find the complex zeros, and finally plugging those zeros into a factored form. Okay? So I'm going to start by graphing. I have a 3x to the fourth. I'm adding 5x cubed. I'm just reading the function, by the way. I'm not making stuff up. Plus 25x squared. Plus 45x minus 18. Since I want the zeros, I have to put a 0 in y2. Probably listening to me muted, but I have to put a 0 in y2. I have to put it there. Zoom 6 as you were taught. And what we'll do is we'll do second trace. It should be about ready. There she goes. Second trace 5. And I'm actually going to hit the up arrow to shift to the red line. Enter, enter, enter. So there's that 0.3333. By the way, 0.3333 forever. Is 1/3. Some of y'all don't know that. I don't know how you get to be a junior and not know that. I'm just constantly amazed. Anyway, second trace 5, hit that up arrow, get on a red line because it's quicker to get there. Get close, enter, 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 and the other one is -2. So my 2 zeros from the calculator were x equals -2 and 1/3. And now I'm going to do the synthetic division, which a lot of y'all have started to finally figure out. Took you long enough. I actually need to make this a little smaller because I'm going to do it twice. Don't be alarmed by what I'm doing, but it's going to happen twice. That's why I'm doing it twice there. All right, so I know that -2 is a 0. I'm going to keep the coefficients. I don't see any need for placeholders. And I'm going to drop. -2 times 3 is -6. I'm going to add. -2 times -1 is 2. I'm going to add. -2 times 4 is -8. Oops. That's a 25, isn't it? So let me check this. 3, 5, 2. I add, I get 27. -2 times 27 is -54. I add and I get -9. -2 times -9 is 18, and I add and I get a 0. Because the remainder is 0, I can work with this reduced quotient. I hate using the word quotient, but whatever. I know what happens if I say the word quotient. 1 in 5 kids automatically became uninterested because he said a big, big word. All right, this time I'm going to do the third. You'll notice I saved the fraction for last. 1/3 of 3 is 1. -1 and 1 make 0. 1/3 of 0 is 0. 27 plus 0 is 27. 1/3 of 27 is 0. Or sorry, is not 0, it's 9. And there's my remainder. Remainder, constant xx squared. 3x squared plus 27 is where the last two zeros are. So it equals 0. I shift over. This is like a basics question. 3x squared equals -27. There's a reason I put that on the basics quiz. Stuff like that is because 60% of you can't do it. And it's 2 steps. Divide out, shift left, shift right. I'm sorry, it's 3 steps. And I get that x squared is the root of -9. I know that that is the plus or minus imaginary root of 9, and I know that the root of 9 is 3, so plus or minus 3i. All right, now I'm supposed to do the factored form. So completely factor. And the deal is, notice it's x minus, so if I insert a negative 2, it becomes plus 2. The a value is 3, so f of x is 3, x plus 2, x minus a third, x minus 3i, x plus 3i. Now, this is a very good stopping point. If you want, do this. Once again, if you want. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times the negative third is minus 1. And it just makes the thing look prettier. Because now I have factors that don't have fractions there. And again, it's an if you want. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. All right, so let's find g of f of 3. What we're going to do on this one is we're going to work our way out. We're going to find f of 3 by plugging in a 3 into f, and then we're going to plug that result into g, because that's what it says, g of f of 3. So f of 3 is going to be the square root, and on this software I don't have a square root function, very easy, raised to the 1/2, because the 1/2 power is a square root function. Twice of 3 is 6. This ends up being 2 to the 1/2 power. And I didn't mean to throw you off. It's just I can't type a square root function on this particular software. That's also known as the square root of 2. That was f of 3. And now I'm going to plug that result into g. So I'm going to take that root 2 and I'm going to put it right there at that x. So g of root 2 is going to be 3 times a root of 2 plus 3, which is quite simply 3 root 2 plus 3. That's all there is to it. Don't overthink it. Don't underthink it. What are the roots of the equation x squared plus 4x minus 16, which means solve it for x? It's free response. You guys were not taught to complete the square technique, so you're just going to do the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula goes x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So a is 1, b is 4, and c is negative 16. So I'm just going to plug that stuff in, and I'm going to go with it. Opposite of a positive 4 is a negative 4, plus or minus square root. 4 squared, it's b squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 16. All sitting pretty over 2 times a 1. And then I do some evaluation. If I don't know what 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 16 is, I push buttons in a TI-84. At this point in time, you have it. I do know what it is. I am literally going slow for you. $80. So x equals negative 4 plus or minus root 80. Both pieces are over 2. That's going to be negative 2 plus or minus. I'm going to have to simplify. You know, don't be the kid who thinks root 40. It's not. Don't be that loser. Root 80 is root 16 times 5, which is 4 root 5. So I already simplified negative 4 over 2. Now I've got 4 root 5 over 2. Negative 2 plus or minus 4 over 2 is 2 root 5. Final answer. Number 4, you get to use the TI-84 on. I don't know if you remember doing this or not. what we're going to do is we're going to write the augmented matrix. We're going to store it in the calculator. And we're going to use REF. Sorry. Yeah, use REF, which, by the way, was 2 below that comes sum function. So what does my augmented matrix look like? The augmented matrix keeps only the coefficients in front of the variables. So here's a 1, there's a -1, there's a -2, and on paper we put a bar, -6, 3, 2. Notice there's no z. Notice that? 0, -25, -4, 1, -1, 12. At this point in time, I switch over to technology. So I get to the matrix used by hitting the second matrix. Let me move my keypad out of the way for you. I'm going to scroll over to edit. I'm just going to use A. This matrix has 3 rows and 4 columns. And then I just type all the elements in. They're called elements. I didn't come up with that name. Somebody else did. I don't make this stuff up. Mathematics is just a language. But you have to learn how to do math speak. And if you ever would, it would make a lot more sense. It really would. Anyways, what do we have here? We have 1, -1, -2, -6. I'm just checking to make sure I typed everything in right. I'm good with that. I have to quit. The second matrix, math. 2 below comes some. And that data was stored in matrix A. Here is my result. Let me take a quick snip of this and then I can talk about it. Oh, I did come some, didn't I? That's how tired I am. I should probably stop after this. Reduce row echelon is what I want. There we go. That's better. Yeah, this is where I stop. I've been grading basics quizzes. That just drains me. They're basics. You're supposed to do well. But it's not having the effect. I don't know what to do with your particular class. Anyways, there we go. The top row literally says x is 5. Sorry, -5. The second row literally says y is -5. And the third row says z is 3. Now I have my ordered triple. It's -5, -5, 3. And that's where I'm stopping because I'm too tired to continue.